ever since Marvel rebooted, kind of rebooted since last year, we've been kind of looking for that big event that's been worthwhile. Now, they had Age of Ultron at the start, but that was kind of like an event that just so happened to have happened, and it did change the Marvel Universe in quite a way, but not kind of that much. And then we had Battle of the Atom, which, you know, just ended very recently, and to me that felt like a forced event made just for the sake of it. But this Infinity is the true event. Everything's been building up ever since the first issue of Avengers, that since the whole reboot, and that is what I'm going to be reviewing today. So, Infinity is written by Jonathan Hickman. Now, he's also the guy that writes for Avengers and the New Avengers. What I will say is, he is a slow burner. Like, his kind of stories do take a while to kick in. Like, I will be honest, like, I wasn't really kind of enjoying Avengers until the prelude to Infinity, and that's when it all kind of kicked in, because they've been carefully building this up since the first issue, so it's been building up ever so slightly, and that's what I've really kind of liked about this. This issue, in a way, could be turned into a film because of how it's done. The narrative of the whole comic structure is done like that. The main sort of titles you have to sort of look by for this are Avengers and the New Avengers. Obviously because they're both written by Hickman, but because of the fact, like, they're both kind of like the fill in gaps in the sort of issues, and they help to expand the whole story. Now, what's interesting, however, when you were reading the Infinity, was they had a sort of checklist, and they told you what issues you should really read sort of after, so you're kind of not left in the dark by read, because you know what it's like with these tie-in issues, like, they're kind of like all over the place. And if I ever recall, what was it, Avengers versus X-Men's tie-in issues, were they started off good, they started off well, but it's like halfway through the whole thing, all the tie-in issues just went all over the place, all over the joint. Like, it didn't make sense. You know, it was really hard to understand what was kind of really going on. This one is done really well. Now, there are other tie-in issues, but those two are the main ones to this. Didn't really bother buying the other tie-in issues because I didn't want to waste time on it. You know, it's a lot of waste money, and this was just something Marvel was trying to quickly cash in. The only one I did buy was The Hunt, which is kind of spin off, and that's okay, but let's not talk about any of that. We're talking about Infinity. So, like I was saying, yes, it feels like a movie. The narrative is really good. It's all over the place, but it's good. It's done kind of brilliant, because when you start to read it as the big picture, it expands really well. And Thanos is fantastic in this. Like, he is the main sort of villain, but what's really good is, what I will say, is that the Avengers team are out in space, so Earth is kind of you know, Avengers free in a way, and the New Avengers are too busy. Spoilers alert if you've not read any of the New Avengers or a bit into this, but they're too busy trying to save their world by sort of blowing up other worlds in a way, like destroying worlds, and all of that kind of like effect changed them, because they're all different. And the biggest part of this whole event is the Inhumans. Obviously, if you've looked at the Marvel Solists recently, at the previews, you're seeing a lot of Inhuman comics. They're becoming quite a big thing. This is probably Marvel's sort of go-to for replacement for the mutants, considering Fox has that. So when Marvel are trying to make comics fit more into the big screen, so they have the rights for the Inhumans, that's where you're seeing a big heavy focus on them. But in a way, I'm actually quite glad, because I remember the Inhumans in the Fantastic Four TV series, you know, many years ago. So it's great to kind of see them on the page, you know, really good. And I'm not going to spoil much, but this actually does everything that happens. This sets up for for a couple of new series that starts. But what I will say as well is, now I'm not going to spoil the ending, but what I will say, it doesn't necessarily end. Like, it ends, but the story kind of still continues on from the later issues, and that's what's really, really good. Think about it like as the prequels of Star Wars. You know that the story didn't end with episode 1. You know it still continues on, and that's exactly kind of what it is. Like, yes, it ends, but it doesn't, and that's what's really good. So, in a way, I'm looking really forward to either, because this story is going to keep going on for quite a while, and I'm really going to say Jonathan Hickman did a fantastic job, but also the artwork, you know, from the creators did a really, really fantastic job. The art never changed, like, styles or whatnot. It still kept the same tone. Everything about it was done fantastic. The production value for this was just great. I can understand that maybe a lot of people might not like this. It's not very flashy, it's not very kind of like a lot of action kind of happens. It's very wordy, it's very dialogue. Yes, the narrative is all over the place. And probably quite hard to really understand what's happening, you know, at that sort of present moment. But if you give it the time, you give it the appreciation, you will probably actually love this event more and realise that Age of Ultron and Battle of the Atom were just stepping stones towards this event, which was really fantastic in my opinion. Now on towards the rating. I want to give this a 5 out of 5. I personally think that it deserves it. But for realistically purposes, I'm going to give it a solid 4 out of 5. You know, like I said all above, you know, in my sort of statement, that it has its problems. Some people might not kind of get it, but I love it really so much, and it is a strong 4 out of 5. Now I really want to know what do you guys honestly think about this event, and if I forgot to say, hello there people and comic book fans alike. Can't believe I forgot to say that. But yeah, what do you guys kind of honestly sort of think about it? Are you looking forward to the next sort of titles that leads off to what I think it's the Inhuman and Inhumanity sort of titles? Are you going to stop buying Marvel now after this whole thing, or are you still going to keep going strong? Let us know, and if you like this video, then rate, comment, and maybe even subscribe if you want. It's all up to you, of course. And with that all said and done, I will see you guys later.